Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. Today I'm talking about the truth about avoidance and what you really need to know about avoidance, about attachment theory in general, okay? So if you're dealing with an ex or, someone in your life romantically who you think is an avoidant, right, and is avoiding you, avoiding communicating with you, even if they still have feelings for you. So essentially someone who's very stubborn, right? Because that's basically what an avoidant is, in my opinion. Right? Someone who's very stubborn. They can't, even if they do miss you, even if they do love you, they're still not going to say anything about it. If you're dealing with someone like that in your life, then it's probably a good idea that they're not in your life anymore. Okay? And that's the truth. Because if you are with someone who is an avoidant, right, and they avoid how they feel, they avoid owning up to how they feel about you, they're avoiding basically their own feelings about you and not admitting when they're wrong, not admitting when they're still in love with you when they are, that's going to make a very, very difficult relationship if you two do get back together. Because what you got to remember, as well, because some people think, oh yeah, my ex is an avoidant, but when we get back together, maybe they'll change. What you got to realize about people sometimes is that people don't change. Some people just don't want to change. Even if you give them the right tools, the right books, the right information, they're still not going to change and work on themselves. Even if you go to therapy with them, right, and you get couples counseling or whatever, some people even then are not willing to change. Even if the threat of the end of the marriage, the relationship is there, they're still not going to do it because they're so stubborn, because they're so much of an avoidant, essentially, right? So really, when it comes to if you're dealing with an avoidant or someone along those lines, it's really a good idea that you broke up. It's really a good thing that you're no longer together, because if you're with someone who is like that, it's going to make the relationship really, really tough. Okay? Because it means that you're the one that's always going to have to put in the effort. You're the one that's always going to have to apologize, even if it was their fault. Okay? It's not a good idea to be someone who is so avoidant like that, someone who is so stubborn like that. Okay, now I know it's tough if you really, really love someone and they happen to have this personality trait. But what you got to realize is that it's going to make your life so much more difficult if you're going to be in a relationship with them, especially if you're someone who's very open and very honest about how you're feeling and what's going on with you, and you're very willing to talk things out and work things out, and you want to be like that, right? And you want to be like that with them. But if they're not like that, no amount of you trying is actually going to change them, because they're still going to avoid their feelings, right? They're still going to be stubborn. Now, it may be the case that they will change, but it's very unlikely. Now, you're someone who's watching, sort of like a self-help video. So you're one of these rare people that is actually willing to change themselves, to learn, to grow, to develop themselves, to become better, right? So I really applaud you for watching a video like this one, or any other videos that are similar in nature to these, whether it's mine or someone else's, because you're one of those rare types of people who are actually going to, do really well in life and in relationships, because you're willing to learn, you're willing to grow. Okay, but a lot of people ain't like that. A lot of people finish school and they think that they've learned everything that they need to know about life, and they're basically still got like a high schooler's mentality, right? And they have that throughout their whole life. They're still 18 years old mentally, right? Or something like that. They're still a teenager mentally, which is why they have explosive relationships. They argue a lot, they're bitter, they have these really weird coping strategies, they have these really weird communication styles, like avoiding conversations and things like that. You don't want to be with someone who is still a high schooler. You want to be someone who can grow, who can develop, who can learn from their mistakes, and not be the same person that they were when they were 18 years old. Okay, but what you got to realize is that most of the population is exactly like that. They're not willing to learn, they're not willing to grow, they're not willing to learn how to make things better for themselves and to make themselves a better person. You're obviously here to try and make yourself a better person. You're trying to figure out these things so you can have a better relationship with this person or with someone new in the future. Okay, and I highly recommend that you do the latter. Find someone new, because you can't be with someone who is stubborn like this, especially if you're not. It's going to make your life very difficult, and there's no reason for you to make your life more difficult than it already is, because life is already tough. Life is already a struggle. Life is already so tough, right? Because one of the things about life is that what you're going to realize about any sort of dream or goal that you have is that it's going to take a lot longer and a lot more effort than you realize, right? Even when that comes to like goals for yourself, like changing yourself and being able to, act and behave differently. Because, if you're watching a video like this one, then you're probably hoping to try and change your behavior in order to get different reactions out of people, to be able to have better relationships and things, which, is a great, admirable goal. You have to be able to, develop yourself in such a way that you can help other people and you can have better relationships with people. It's a great, admirable goal to have that. Okay. But what you got to realize is that may take a long time too, right? It's very difficult to get out of our old habits, to get out of our old ways, which is why it's very difficult for someone who's stubborn and who's an avoidant to change themselves. Because first of all, it's really, really difficult to change yourself. Really difficult, especially if you've been behaving in the same way for a long time. So let's say this person has got like an 18-year-old's mentality and they're now 30, right? That's a long time to be 18 years old mentally. Yeah. Then it's going to be very difficult for them to change their habits, change their ways, change their mentality, change their communication style, right? It's going to be so difficult. So it's easier for you to just find someone new who, doesn't have these issues, just to start from scratch, which I know can be difficult, especially if you've spent a lot of time investing yourself into this relationship and into that person. But what I truly believe is that no relationship, no matter how long it's lasted, no matter how quick it ended, it's still a learning curve. It was still meant to be. Like, I believe that everything that happens to you was kind of divinely orchestrated. It was meant to teach you a lesson, even if you don't understand that now. Because usually with me, what I find is that I look back on life from, years on, and I think, oh yeah, that was really meant to happen. That led me to this, that led me to that led me to that piece of information, right? That helped me grow in this way, even though at the time it sucked when I was going through it, right? So even if it hurts right now, I guarantee it in the future, you will look back on that relationship and think, oh, actually, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I was with them for a long time, but, it wasn't really a waste of time because it taught me a lot of things about myself. It led me to videos like this one and perhaps other people's videos that you may be watching, right? And I learned a lot of stuff and it really helped with my relationships. It really helped me grow as a person, right? So don't feel like you've wasted your time. You're like, oh no, I've really wasted my time on that person, so I really need to get them back so I don't feel like I wasted my time, right? Because we were together for this amount of time and, I really want to get back with them because I invested so much, right? Let it all go. Just let it go and find someone new. Okay, now it may be the case that this person is willing to change, but like I said, it's very, very unlikely, okay? And if they've dumped you, then there's not really too much you can do about it anyway. It's still best to stay in no contact, even if they are avoiding you, even if they are stubborn, even if they still have feelings for you, it's still better to be in no contact. Because again, you shouldn't be the one that's always having to offer that olive branch. It's not fair on you, right? It's better to find someone who communicates with you really well and you both can offer those olive branches to each other when there's a misunderstanding. Okay, so that's what you really need to know about avoidance. It's best to avoid the avoidance or the stubborn person, the stubborn ex. Right, it's really a good idea to do that. So if you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye, guys. Take care.